Hey, what's going on? Charles Austin here, and let's be fit forever. So today I want to talk a little bit about plant protein, right? And protein is definitely always a hot topic in the world of health and nutrition. Every single commercial is about protein. Every time you see an athlete endorsing something, it's protein. Um, they advertise protein as something you need for weight loss and for something that you need for energy and all these different things. And for whatever reason, nobody thinks that you can get protein from plants. But I'm here to tell you otherwise, all right? But before we jump into that, as always, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on so that you're always up to date with the latest content here on the channel, okay? But as always, I like to dive right in, okay? So we're going to start just by coming right on with it, right? Not going to waste any time. Okay, let's go ahead and make the statement. Okay, all plants have protein. Let's say it again. Okay, all plants have protein. If you don't believe me, try saying it with me. All plants have protein, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples in just a second, right? But one of the biggest, misconceptions about protein coming from plants is that they're not complete, or they don't have enough amino acids, or if you want the good protein, it has to come from an animal, right? You have to eat your steak, you have to eat your chicken, you have to eat your pork chops, etc., if you want to get the protein that you need for healthy cells and muscle growth and all these different things, right? So let's kind of talk about, I want to show you a couple of areas where those ideas actually came from, right? So as you see here, there was a book written back in the 70s titled Diet for a Small Planet, right? And what the author basically stated was that plants are deficient in certain essential amino acids. And amino acids are just, as you probably learned in school at some point, they're the building blocks of proteins, right? And when we digest protein, our body basically breaks it down into these amino acids so that our body can use them for the different functions that they have, right? So since they're saying that plants are deficient in these amino acids, therefore you must eat these plants together in order to get a complete protein. Okay, so this kind of comes where you've probably heard that in order to make sure that you get the proteins that you need, you have to eat like rice and beans together, or some other combination. So as you can see later on, that statement was retracted. Okay, took 10 years, but she retracted that statement as false because the science won out. Okay, so at the end of the day, let the science rule out. Okay, but unfortunately, there was a lot of damage done, and nowadays you can still find this myth all over. You can find it in medical textbooks. You can find it in books in school and academia. You can find it in health textbooks, etc. So you can find this false statement all over. Okay. So I do want to make sure I'm very clear, and this is the same with any food that you can consume, right? So you do want to make sure you remember that some plants do have less of certain amino acids. Okay. But they contain some of all of the amino acids. So the point is, eat a bunch of plants, you get all the protein you need. You get all the protein you need to function and have a healthy body, right? So let's go on to this other one here real quick. So here's another statement here, where we're talking about what we used to think, right? So here, the article reads on about what we used to think that we had to combine certain incomplete proteins. Again, there's that beans and rice rearing its ugly head again. And don't get me wrong, I love beans and rice. Matter of fact, today for lunch I had red beans and rice. Delicious, right? So again, they're talking about having to combine these in the same meal to get the essential amino acids. This basically means you have to eat them together. If you don't eat them together, you won't get all the healthy amino acids that you need. Okay. As it says here, so again, let's go back to what we used to think. And you'll be amazed at some of the things that are associated with nutrition with what we used to think, right? But what we used to think, and now we go on to say that now we know that you can meet your needs just by eating plants throughout the day, throughout the week, whatever, right? So the point is, you'll be just fine getting all the proteins that you need just by eating plant sources, right? And as it goes on here, the benefits of the benefits. Oh, I'm happy you took a quick break. Again, these streams are live on YouTube with the screen share, so you're missing out if you're watching me on IG. But anywho, but getting more of these plant proteins actually have health benefits. Obviously, we know if you're eating things like beans and grains and lentils and nuts and tofu, right? All these different things. Well, guess what? Here's a study that the Harvard Medical School did, and they found that just substituting 3% of your calories. So they're basically saying if we're talking about, let's just say your protein sources, let's just say in a crazy world, your protein sources was 100% meat. Let's just say it. That doesn't exist, but we're just trying to use it as an example. If you just took out 3% and said, okay, we'll make it 97% instead of 100, they're saying if you substitute 3% of your calories from animal protein with plant protein, you're going to reduce your risk of dying from heart disease and by 12%. And then there's going to be a 10% reduction in risk of dying for any cause by 10%. So let me say that again. If you just change 3%, that is very small. If you change just 3% of your protein source from animal source to plant source, you're going to reduce your risk of heart disease by 12%, and you're going to reduce your risk of dying from anything by 10%. Now, if you've seen any of my streams at any point, I've probably documented 1,000 times that the number one killer of people on planet Earth is heart disease, and heart disease is preventable. Let me say that again. The number one killer of people on planet Earth is heart disease, and heart disease is preventable. And here's an easy way to reduce your risk just by changing your diet just a little bit, okay? So let's go on here. So again, and also just real quick before we move on, keep in mind that we're already well aware of all the risk associated with high animal protein diets, right? But we'll get into that in a second, all right? So let's give you some of the best sources, right? So let's give you something that you can work with already, right? So again, I'm going to pull up, and I did this on purpose, right? Because some of the things that I hear people say all the time, say, well, you can find anything you want on the internet to fit your narrative. You know, everybody has haters, right? But the reason why I like to pull up, the reason why I did this way is to show you that you're going to find some commonalities through these three sources here real quick. So anyway, this basically is giving you a list of some of the best sources of complete protein. Again, if we're talking about complete protein, we're talking about containing all those amino acids that we need in order for our body to function, right? So what do we have? Hemp seeds, right? And as it says here, yes, we are talking about the cannabis sativa plant, but we're not talking about the ones that have psychoactive effects, okay? So if you eat hemp seeds, you're not going to go and get high or anything like that, right? So that's a good example, okay? Edamame, all right? Edamame is just another way of saying soybeans, right? So you can eat them raw. You can eat them stir-fried. Anyway, okay? Farro is another one. This is just another type of grain. So there's lots of different ancient grains. Farro is one of them. Quinoa, I think that one's on this list as well. Bam, there you go. Another grain, quinoa. You can eat this hot. You can eat it in a salad, many different ways. Buckwheat, another good source. Ezekiel bread, hummus, which I eat hummus almost every day. Love hummus, right? Chia seeds, and chia seeds is an easy thing to add to smoothies, add it to oatmeal, add it to baked goods, etc. Right? So that's one list. Let's go to the next one. All right. So on this list, again, just another list of complete protein sources, right? Hummus, well, we've seen that twice already. Okay. Spirulina, buckwheat, we've seen that twice. Okay. Soy, we've seen that twice. All right. And beans or rice, they're putting this because, yeah, if you do eat them together, that is a complete protein. Ezekiel bread, we've seen that twice. All right. Quinoa, we've seen that twice. All right. And seitan as well, which I believe is a certain type of mushrooms. Right. But anywho, and then there's peanut butter on whole wheat. So let's go to the last list before we move on, just to give you guys some ideas of stuff that you can start consuming right away. To, again, if we go back to this part here, we're just talking about making a 3% change, everybody. Change 3% of your caloric intake of protein from animals to plants, and you're going to reduce your risk of death. Okay, so here's some ideas of how to do so. All right, here's our third list here real quick with plant protein sources, right? So lentils, all right, chickpeas, all right, or garbanzo beans, okay, hemp seeds. We've seen that 3 times, right? Tofu, all right, and of course tofu comes from soybeans, so we've seen that 3 times, okay. Nuts as well, quinoa 3 times, okay. Nutritional yeast and the benefits of nutritional yeast are through the roof. I'm gonna have to do a video just on nutritional yeast. If you don't consume nutritional yeast in any way, obviously always check with your physician or whatever, but start doing it, right? Tempeh, all right, another soybean tofu type product, beans, and then there's peanut butter. We've seen that twice. So the reason why I brought up those 3 different links is just to show you that you're going to see commonality, all right? You see commonality from multiple sources. I'm not somebody who just finds one thing to fit my narrative and just go, all right? Got to find different things, right? So real quick, here's some things that you got to look out for when you're researching proteins, and you got to figure out ways to cut through the fat, if you will, right? So here was an article just kind of asking, like, what amino acids cannot be produced by the human body. And basically this is going into the fact that we have essential amino acids, we have non-essential amino acids. We need to eat the ones that our body can't produce, okay? So real quick, it goes down here to complete versus complementary proteins, right? So not all protein food sources are created equal. Animal-based foods such as fish, meat, poultry, and dairy products and eggs contain complete proteins. Pause. So here is a argument pro the complete proteinness, if that is a word, of our animal sources, right? And this is, they call them complete proteins because they provide all the essential amino acids your body needs, etc. And then here we go. Most plant-based foods contain incomplete proteins. Okay. They're basically saying that they have some, but not all the essential amino acids. So again, this can be a little conflicting because now they've already said if you want complete proteins, you got to eat meat because most plant foods contain incomplete proteins. But the good thing is they did at least say most. But the way this article is framed, it's framed to be anti-plant-based protein just because of the way it's framed. This word most obviously does not mean all, but if you read it too fast and you're not knowing what to look for, you're going to assume that plant protein is not going to be enough, right? So, but it goes on to say here, vegans and vegetarians on restricted diets can get all this essential amino acids their bodies needs by planning meals with complementary proteins. Now what they're saying is that, hey, you have to plan these meals out. You got to work. You got to work at this. Again, this is one of those pro meat eating diets that's just kind of throwing subtle jabs at plant proteins, right? So now we're saying that the animal proteins are complete, the plant proteins are incomplete. And now if you want to get the complete proteins, you got to plan. Well, I'll tell you what, as a proud vegan, I don't plan protein at all. I plan what I want to eat and I eat it. Very simple. Okay? Just wanted to make sure I went through that article because, again, we've already dispelled the myth with actual studies done by scientists. Okay? We've actually already dispelled these myths. Okay? And we've already talked about what we used to think, as it goes here, what we used to think versus what we now know. Okay? So we've already dispelled these myths, but again, you can go anywhere and find this information. All right, so real quick, as it says here on this article here, if you're on a vegetarian diet, you don't need to worry about being unable to get your protein from animal sources. There's nothing to worry about. So if you have any apprehension about saying, well, I know some people out there, some of you, all right, I'm going to talk right to you. All right, real quick. Some of you out there are well aware of the fact that I understand that, you may be saying, I understand that I need to consume more plants. I understand that consuming more plants is healthy, but you may have apprehension about wondering about protein. Like, oh my gosh, where am I going to get my protein from? Okay. So for those of you that are apprehensive about this, again, you don't have to worry. There's nothing to worry about, right? Now, again, as I always say, and I always put it in the comment section, or I'm sorry, the description of all of my videos, of course, we're all different people. Check with your doctor, check with your physician, check with your dietitian, check with a qualified medical professional, etc. If you're making drastic changes to your diet and you're worried about it. But at the end of the day, we're all humans, right? And we're pretty much the same. So the point is, if you're on a vegetarian or a vegan diet or whatever, you do not need to worry about getting your protein from animal sources. You don't. Okay? As long as you're eating a variety of vegetables, grains, legumes, and nuts and seeds and all these different things, you're going to get everything you need. And everybody should be doing that anyway. Everybody should be eating nuts and seeds and beans and vegetables and fruits and whole grains and oats and all these different things. Even if you are somebody who eats meat, you should be eating those things anyway. Okay? So I wanted to go here now because I know some people are still, as I get ready to wrap up here, I know some people are still like, well, wait a minute. You can't be serious that all proteins actually, or all plants actually have proteins, right? Well, let's just do a little search, right? Let's do a little search. So this is a place I like to go whenever I need to look up how many calories is in a food, or just their nutritional value, whatever, right? So I like to go to this website. It's my favorite one to use. So let's just do it. Let's type in lettuce. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to zoom in for y'all because if you can't see, it clearly says that lettuce has protein. Now, yeah, you might be saying it's a small amount. Yeah. But again, this comes from the whole premise of this video is that you eat plants every day, you're going to get all the protein you need. Some in small amounts, some in large amounts, right? Doesn't matter if it's regular green leaf lettuce, there you go. Romaine lettuce, iceberg lettuce, all that stuff, right? You go down the list. Let's do another food. What about apples? Well, what do you know? Protein in an apple. Okay? Again, small amount, but we're not saying just eat apples, you'll get all their protein. You can't just eat one of anything and get complete nutrition. But what we're saying is that when you eat a plant, you're getting protein. Different amounts, different types of amino acid combinations, but you're getting protein. Let's do one more. Here's another one people probably don't think it's protein. Spinach. What do you know? Protein. Okay? So it doesn't matter. What is the point? Plant protein. It's better. Because guess what? Every time you're getting plant protein from a plant, guess what else you're getting? Fiber, lots of vitamins and minerals. Oh, shall I go back to this article one more time? Oh, did you know that if you just change the amount of plant protein that you eat by 3% from animal, that you'll reduce your risk of dying? Plant protein is better. Okay? So those are just another, let me just do one more. Think of another food just off the top of my head. I don't know. A banana. Oh, what do you know? Protein. Okay, so these are small amounts. Real quick, so if you're curious of the ones that have large amounts, let's do black bean or something, right? Well, now we're getting higher amounts, 7 grams, right? Let's do something like an almond, all right? This is per 1 almond, but if we're talking about a cup, there you go, 6 grams, a serving. Okay, so we could do this all day. The point is, you eat plants, you're getting proteins, right? So real quick, I wouldn't be do myself if I didn't take a second to take my jab. Some of the reasons why plant protein is better, we've already covered it, right? Reduce your risk of dying just by eating more plant protein, right? But animal protein has no fiber. Again, I haven't made a video on fiber, but the health benefits of fiber are many. Digestion, helping with reducing constipation, et cetera, right? So animal proteins don't have fiber, so the more you get more protein, no fiber, you're increasing your risk for heart disease, okay? If you're getting protein from dairy sources, you can check out my videos on dairy is death, where I talk about IGF-1 in detail. But if you're getting protein from dairy sources, you're definitely going to be getting this IGF-1, which is increasing your risk of cancer. All right. What else? I don't want to go through all of these, but bone health. Okay. One of the things about protein is that it's acidic. Increasing the acidity in your blood causes damage to your bones, and then also cholesterol. The more protein you eat from animal sources, they're going to have cholesterol. The only way we get cholesterol is from animal sources. Okay, plant foods are cholesterol free. So, anywho, just some quick things on the reasons why plant protein is better. Now, I wanted to end this video on something that I love talking about, something that I always talk to clients and just in general conversation about when I talk about the fact that, yeah, I'm vegan or vegetarian or whatever, and I eat plants all the time, and that's where I get my protein from. So I always like to bring up the fact that literally, like, some of the largest, strongest, most muscular animals, hello, nice to see you. Nice to see you, Ebony. So some of the largest and most strongest, biggest, most muscular animals are vegans, right? We call them in biology, we call them herbivores, but you get the idea. So let's start with this one. Rhinoceros. Anybody ever seen one of those? Would you call a rhinoceros small and fragile and frail or anything like that? Probably not, right? As you can see, their diet is, they're herbivore. Now, I wanted to also point out lifespan, something else that's common among these animals, right? 35 to 50 years, okay? Now, obviously, this depends on things like poaching and captivity and things, but 35 to 50 years, we'll just use that one, okay? Let's go to elephants. Would you consider an elephant something that's small, frail, something that you would want to get into a fight with? Probably not, right? So again, look at the lifespan, 60 to 70 years, herbivore. Okay, let's do another one. Hippopotamus. Have you ever seen a hippopotamus get mad? Okay, so is that something else that you would consider small and frail and fragile because all they're doing is eating these plant proteins? Oh my gosh. No, herbivore, 40 to 50 years. Okay. So let's do another one. Lions. Oh yeah, now they're very ferocious. They're literally designed to kill. I get it. Carnivore. Look at that lifespan. Correlation to diet? I don't know. I'm just pointing out other mammals because us humans, we're mammals too. All right. Tiger. A little bit longer. Okay. But still, if we go to the other ones, we got 35 to 50, 60 to 70, 40 to 50. Well, we're here at the tiger, we're maxing out at 20 to 26. Okay? So, just saying. All right, let's do one more. I pulled up hyenas, another carnivore, 25 years. So, what are we pointing out here, right? What are we pointing out? All right? We pulled up 3 different, and we could do this all day. Trust me, I've done it already. But we could do this all day. Hyenas, tigers, lions, all meat eaters, all shorter lifespans. All right, and we also pulled up rhinos, elephants, and hippos, all things that are large, muscular, ferocious in their own right, and they just eat plants. So this notion that us humans, we have to eat this meat in order to get our protein is just, it's ludicrous. It really is. So I'm gonna wrap up with this one, my last little nugget here. another conversation that I have regularly. Well, wait a minute. Whenever I tell somebody that I'm vegan, they say, well, where do you get your protein from? Where is it? Where does it come from? And what I always ask is, where does your protein get its protein from? No, this is not a glitch. The video did not freeze. Just wanted to take a second and think about it. So if you're curious where you get your protein from, or if you're wondering where I get my protein from, where did your protein get their protein from? Pretty sure cows only eat grass. So, all right, let's see if we got any Q&A. Q&A. Remember, at the end of every video here, we can do Q&A on any subject that we talked about today. Well, if you got a question about something else that's been on your mind, about your health, about your fitness, about your nutrition, about chronic disease, you want to talk about hypertension or blood pressure, diabetes, any of those things, we can do it. Let's see. It's quiet. It's a quiet day today, no questions. Now keep in mind, before I wrap up, I'll remind y'all that we do these streams every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And also Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time, and then also Saturdays at 1 p.m. Central Time. Best non-nut protein source, I'm probably going to go with like a bean, some type of bean. Probably like garbanzo. Yeah, there is a delay. Probably like garbanzo beans or soybeans are really good. And then also like chia seeds or like sunflower seeds, stuff like that. Awesome sources of protein. So yeah, if you're allergic to nuts and you're like, yo, I can't eat almonds and walnuts and all these different things, go for beans and seeds all day. Go for beans and seeds. And then don't forget the fact that you can eat rice. Like one of the best sources of proteins from rice is like this purple rice, black rice, purple rice. You eat that with some beans, man, you're killing the protein. So good question. All right. But remember, like we already learned in this video, it doesn't matter what plant source you're eating, you're going to get protein. All right. So, oh, and don't forget nutritional yeast, great source of protein and B vitamins, lots of good stuff. But again, we do these streams every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Central Time. And don't forget to be on the lookout for the raffle to be a part of my Fit Forever family. That's coming up real soon. I'm still working on all the little kinks and things, but just keep that in mind. That'll be coming up soon, where I'm going to teach you exactly how to be fit forever. None of this get fit quick, lose weight fast garbage. We don't do that. All right. We're going to learn how to do this, and we're going to learn how to change our bodies and keep that change forever. All right. So I will see y'all Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Remember, for my folks that's over there on YouTube, if you're watching me on YouTube, you're missing the full stream with the screen share with all the good stuff. So make sure you follow me. You subscribe to my YouTube, Charles Austin Fitness. All right. So again, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Fitness Charles. Like and subscribe, share the video, all that good stuff. I will see y'all Wednesday at 6 p.m. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.